Today, we're going to be taking a deep dive into something super important, especially if you're anyone listening who's involved in, well, keeping people safe from floods.
And not just floods, but erosion and unstable banks, too.
Exactly. So if you're in the general public or a public authority or in construction and infrastructure or even insurance, this is for you.
For sure.
So to get into all this, we're looking at this awesome ArcelorMittal steel sheet piles, flood defense, and bank protection.
Yeah, it might sound a little, technical, but trust me, these sheet pile walls, they're way more interesting than they sound.
They're not just for basic flood control. We're talking flood embankments, canal bank stabilization, even protecting buildings from sinking.
Yeah, they've become this sort of essential tool for engineering, and they have all these added benefits, like green spaces and sustainability, and even reusing them.
Okay, so let's back up a bit. For anyone who's not an engineer, what exactly are these sheet pile walls?
Well, think of it this way, you have these steel sections, right? And they interlock with each other, and you drive them into the ground. So they basically form this continuous barrier. It's like a super strong underground wall.
Okay, so not just some flimsy fence, huh?
Definitely not. This is serious engineering. And the cool thing is they're made in factories with controlled conditions. So the quality is guaranteed consistent. And when you're dealing with, something as critical as flood defense, that consistency is a big deal.
Oh yeah, that makes sense. So it's a really carefully designed system.
Exactly.
So how do they actually use these sheet piles in, flood defense?
Oh, there's a bunch of ways. For example, they can be used as what are called cutoff walls within embankments.
Cut-off walls, huh?
Yeah.
What's that?
Well, imagine you have this embankment, right? And inside the embankment, you build this watertight barrier, like a wall, using the sheet piles. And it stops water from, seeping through and weakening the structure.
Oh, so it's like an extra layer of protection.
Yeah, exactly. And that's super important for, everyone, really, but especially for public authorities and insurance companies, because a stronger embankment means less risk of damage.
Yeah, that makes sense. Lower costs, too, probably.
Exactly. And sheet pile walls can also be used to raise flood levels, without needing to make the whole embankment bigger.
Right. How does that work?
Well, instead of making the whole embankment taller, which takes up a ton of space and resources, you extend the height of the sheet pile wall above the embankment. And since they're so strong, they can handle that extra water pressure. They transfer it down safely into the ground.
Oh, I get it. So you're not expanding the footprint of the embankment.
Right, which is a game changer in urban areas where space is at a premium. You get more flood protection without gobbling up more land.
Yeah, that makes a ton of sense, especially for public projects where acquiring land can be a huge headache. So we've talked about cutoff walls, raising flood levels. What else?
Well, sheet piles are also great for stabilizing the banks themselves. They act like a kind of a support system, allowing for steeper slopes and, again, saving space.
Oh, I see. So they're really multifunctional. Okay, but what about buildings near embankments? Aren't those at risk, if the ground starts shifting?
Sheet piles can be used to protect those buildings, too. They form this barrier that basically isolates them from any movement in the ground. They anchor the structure, prevent it from sinking, tilting, all that bad stuff.
It's like they're giving the building a whole new foundation, a super strong one.
It's a good way to think about it. And in places where space is super tight, like ports or really densely populated areas, sheet piles can actually be used as freestanding flood walls. They can replace traditional embankments altogether.
Wow, so we're talking a whole range of flood defense solutions, all from this one technology.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing.
Okay, so I'm starting to see why they're so popular, but what makes sheet piles, so advantageous compared to other methods? Why choose this over something else?
First off, they're cost-effective and time-efficient. They're quick to install, and they don't usually require a ton of prep work.
So less disruption, huh?
Yeah, and that translates to savings for any project's budget.
Oh yeah, time is money, as they say.
Mm-hmm.
But okay, I have to ask, how loud is it to install these things? Driving piles into the ground, that's got to be noisy.
You'd think so, right? But things have come a long way. They're using these presses.
Presses, the quiet achievers of construction, right? They seem to be gaining popularity, especially when noise is a big concern. How do they actually work?
Presses use a steady hydraulic force to literally push that sheet pile into the ground. So it's a much gentler approach, which makes it really ideal for noise-sensitive areas, like urban environments or when you're working near existing structures.
Okay, but going back to those interlocks between the piles, how do they make sure that they're totally watertight? That seems like a pretty crucial detail for, flood defense.
Absolutely. It's essential, and sheet pile walls can be made, completely impermeable, basically a solid wall. But if they need to, they can also allow for some controlled seepage using what are called weep holes.
So they're adaptable depending on the project. Okay, I like that. So they're strong, they're adaptable. What else?
Well, another big plus is that they can be integrated with landscaping.
Wait, you can make a flood wall look good.
Oh, yeah. They can be clad in all sorts of materials, like stone, brick, timber. It can really blend in with the surroundings.
So it's not just functional, it can actually enhance the area.
Exactly. And they can even be part of, greening initiatives.
Oh, so imagine a flood wall covered in vines or something. That's awesome. Okay, so they're versatile, they can look good. Anything else?
Well, they're also incredibly durable and, get this, they're reusable.
Wait, you can reuse sheet piles?
You can. Steel's super strong, right? And because they're driven vertically, they can be extracted and used again somewhere else.
Okay, so it's not a one-time use material. That's awesome for sustainability.
Right.
I'm sold. These things are way more sophisticated than I thought.
Right. It's all about smart engineering, using the right design to withstand the forces of nature.
It's amazing how versatile sheet piles can be.
Definitely. They're not just about, holding back water. They're about protecting people and property and the environment. We're going to be diving into Smart Sheet Pile.
It's basically a system of sensors
Okay.
embedded directly into sheet pile structures. And these sensors collect a ton of data in real time.
Wow.
So think of it as like giving those structures like a nervous system.
Okay.
They can sense and report on their condition. Think about flood protection barriers.
Okay.
Smart Sheet Pile can monitor water levels and pressure,
Wow.
providing early warnings about potential breaches.
Okay. We've covered a lot of ground. I hope our listeners have learned something new, maybe even, changed their perception of these often overlooked structures.
Me too. And who knows, maybe we've inspired someone out there to think about, how they can use their skills and knowledge to create a better world.
We can always hope.
Well, on that note, I think it's time to wrap up this deep dive. Until next time, stay curious.